Hello, welcome to the round 22 player ratings video, proudly sponsored by Doing a Bit. So difficult to do this after a game like that, but it must be done. Win, lose or draw, always here, always showing up. That's the way it goes. That's the way it works. If you can't handle the heat, you should not be in this game. Basically, with these player ratings, for those who are new to the player ratings, this is kind of like the votes for the game. I like to go through each individual player and grade them between 1 and 10, 5 being the pass mark and above. And essentially these will be tallied up at the end of the season, and we're going to do like a Blue Abroad awards night and crown the Blue Abroad Player of the Year. So basically the way it works is I'll start the conversation, I'll suggest a score. If you think any of them should change, just let us know in the comments below what they should be changed to and why, and we'll go from there. I think it's important to preface this by saying, fuck, it was tough to give votes. It's really hard to give anyone, any form of criticism because of how hard they played last night. It was a really rare loss that I can remember experiencing where I leave the game thinking, fuck, they laid it all out there, and they should be proud of the way they approached it and the way they really challenged, the premiers from last season. And I think that's why I found it really difficult. But anyway, it's all just a conversation. Don't take it too seriously. And, we'll go from there. We'll start as the team was named. Lewis Young, Jacob Wiedering, and Marchbank. Lewis Young, I gave him a 10. He was outstanding. I actually thought, I think he's been down a little bit over the last few weeks. Not down, just not as sharp. Just hasn't been as sharp. But last night he was sensational. I believe he had 24 spoils. I think I saw the stat somewhere on Instagram somewhere or whatever it was. He was outstanding. I'm so happy for him the way he played. Really stood up against a really good team and in a really pressure cooker situation. And for all these players, it was really important for me to see how they stack up when the pressure's on. And you don't get as much pressure as what there was last night. I don't know if it goes many levels deeper than that. Maybe it does. But yeah, Lewis Young a 10. Wiedering, I found this one really difficult. And as I said before, giving anyone below a 5 after that effort last night is tough. But I did give him a 4. I don't know what's going on. There's something not right. He's just not the same. I can't identify exactly what it is. Obviously, he's had a patch of the season where he's been out, shoulder. So I guess that is where my mind goes to, but just not the sharp Jacob Wiedering that we've come to see. Obviously he's a defender first, so the possessions don't matter, but just didn't seem to get in the thick of it. I'm not sure what his role and his instructions were, but from my lens, it looked like a 4 from me. Marchbank's next. Geez, I thought he was great last night. I gave him an 8. I was a little harsh on him last week, I think. But it's so good to see him in the team. He looked a lot better than what he did last week, I thought. And I think all the defenders in general, as a mix, they've had to, synergize with each other pretty quickly. The big 4 tall boys there with the other smaller guys. But yeah, Marchbank, I thought he was exceptional. The way he flies for the ball, I think he's only going to get better. And coming off the year that he's had, the amount of footy that he's lost, I now know for sure can rely on him in the crunch moments. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Next up is McGovern, Sard, and Stocker. McGovern, I love Mitch McGovern and what he's been able to do in the last month, the last 4 games, ever since he came back from injury. He's looked really solid. I gave him a 9 last night. I loved his game. He really helped generate ball moving forward and helped us with the territory battle. He had 673 metres gained. He's a beautiful kick of the football. Took strong, important marks. Took 3 of them, but some of them were really important. His kicking was a real feature, and I just love the way he's looked since he's come back into the team. Obviously, was part of the mix of players that allowed Jake Malcolm to mark that ball. That mark lives rent-free in my head. No. No. How does it happen? Critical contests, but, hopefully he'll get better for it. Sard, I thought he was solid as well. I really did. I gave him a 7 for his game. provided the surety as he always does, gets himself out of really tricky situations and plays hard, and he plays the right way every week. I gave him a 7. Stocker, I loved having him in the side. He's just got this ability to get rid of a disposal and a handball in tight when the pressure's on, and he's clean with it. And I like it. I think, hopefully he can just stay in the side. I just love what he's about. I love the attributes that he has. And I enjoy the fact that they brought him into the side. Obviously, we've tried, Paddy Dow and Setterfield to an extent. They were dropped. I know Setterfield played, but I like the fact that Stocker got a chance, and I like the fact that he looked good in tight. I thought he was solid for us. So I gave him a 7. Next up is Fisher, Cripps, and Cottrell. Fish, I thought he started slowly but worked his way into the game. It's been a feature of his games of late, especially against the good sides. Like the Geelong game, I remember he really lifted for us. And I thought he did the same in this game. He had the 19 touches, kicked a goal, an important goal on his right. I gave him a 6 for his game. I would love to round out that performance into a 4-quarter performance. But I thought he definitely got his job done. Cripps, that was vintage Patrick Cripps, and it's really highlighted by the 12 tackles. Had a very interrupted preparation with the week that he had, suspended for 2 weeks. It looked like he was certainly not going to play. Emotions of that, the fallout from that. Then we appealed. The appeal successful, and I thought he came out with the right attitude. I thought he performed really well. 10 clearances, 12 tackles, 26 possessions, and really led the way. And it was a really good game from the skipper. I gave him a 10. Cottrell, I gave him a 10. Goodness me, Matty Cottrell. I am baffled at how well he is playing. I really am. I just did not expect it from him this year, and it's a full credit to him. I think he should take full confidence knowing that he did that last night against the D's. Thought he played really well for us. It's just tough, and you can just see he's starting to reap the rewards for the hard work that he's been putting in. The hard work's never been questioned. I think the talent has been questioned, but now I don't think those voices should be anywhere near as loud as what they have been. I think he's coming along nicely, and I just loved his game. He's not meant to be the star on the team for me. He's more of a role player, and I thought he performed his role as good as he could have last night. So I gave him a 10. Next up is Owies, Walsh, and Silvani. Owies, a lot of people last night, myself included, we have the image of him kicking to side and it falling short. That's not why we lost the game. I thought Owies was really solid throughout the entire game. I'm not going to pin that last kick on him and use it against him. Like, it was obviously a bit of a miss kick, but no, I think he can hold his head up high with the way he performed. I think he'll get better from it. That's the one thing about him. He's a real professional in the way he goes about it, and he'll just continue to grow. I gave him a 7 for his game. I love the way he went about it. He had 10 touches. Brought the tackle pressure. He had laid 4 of them, but his pressure was there all night. And I think all of them, the pressure was pretty good all night. So I gave Owies a 7. Walshy, I also gave him a 7. I think he played a bit of a different role. I couldn't quite put my finger on how he was playing and the role that he was performing. So I might need a bit more input on this one from you and for those of you that watched him and maybe saw something that I didn't. I just felt like it was a 7 out of 10. So I gave him a 7. Jack Silvani, I gave him a 9. Could have been a 10. I thought he battled very well. I thought he really brought the heat. 7 tackles. Just love it. When he's around the ball, good things happen. I thought he might play a bit more as a midfielder last night. I didn't expect to see Doherty perform that role. But we'll touch on Doc shortly. But yeah, Sauce, gave him a 9. He's just... I love him. I love the way he goes about it, and I thought he represented himself and the club really well last night. Kick 1 goal 3. Got to get better at converting. It's been something that's part of his game pretty much since he came into the league. And until he starts converting those opportunities, there's always going to be a little bit more that he could be doing. But listen, they all played their guts out, and he definitely did as well. So I gave him a 9. Next up is Harry, Jack Martin, and Charlie Curnow. Harry started with 10, went back to 9. Maybe I'll put it as a 9 for now. You guys can let me know. I thought he was fantastic. I really did. I was a little bit mindful and worried about his mentality. As I mentioned, I wasn't sure about it. Didn't seem to be, as I said last week, playing with the same force that he had been early in the season, but he brought it back last night. I thought he was great. I really did. Couple of set shots from far out, and just set shots in general that I would hope that he converts at a better clip moving forward. He really had to kick through the ball and take set shots in the traditional manner because it was too far out for a snap, and unfortunately wasn't able to hit the scoreboard as much as what he could have. But still, kicked a couple. He kicked 3, took strong marks around the ground, and lifted. And he had a really strong opponent in Stephen May on him. So, yeah, I love that. And he needs to bring that next week. That's the kind of force that I want to see from Harry next week. So, gave him a 9. Jack Martin, I gave him an 8. I thought he started slowly at halftime. I'm sitting there with my friends that I was with, and I'm like, where the fuck's Jack Martin? We need more. But he brought it. He lifted, kicked 3 goals. And there was one particular contest, I think it might have been in the 4th, where he was tackled. He was clearly tackled, but he's got this ability he's got this real super strength about him. Might not look it when you look at him because he's pretty slender and slim and lean. But he's got some serious strength about him, and he can kick on his left as well. And I thought he lifted really well in the second half. So I gave him an 8 for his game. Charlie, I gave him a 4 for his game. I thought that was a loss on the night, which, again, it's so hard to give someone a 4 when they've played their guts out like that. But 1 goal 4, really needed Charlie to, I guess, just be better. I think because we've seen him be better and he's capable of being better, needed a bit more. But look, he's had a fantastic year. He hasn't played many games like that all season. He's been really strong for us. So gave him a 4 on the night. I don't know, maybe that's a little harsh. Let me know what you think. I just think he's just such a good player, and when you see 1 goal 4 next to his name, he's got more in him, and I know he's going to be better for it next week. I'm just certain he's going to be able to perform. Next is Pito, Setterfield, and Doherty. Pito, I gave him a 7. He battled hard. There are a few things that didn't go his way that he could have been better at, but I think that I don't believe we are that close in the contest if Tom De Koning's playing personally. Pito's strength, things he does around stoppages, the blocks that he puts on, not many people watch it, but he also brings us this presence. If you look at halftime when the fight broke out, or the scuffle, whatever you want to call it, Stephen May looks to be the D's enforcer, maybe even Jake Melksham to an extent, but it's really, for me, it's the real strength and power is Stephen May, and I think Pito is that for us. And when things get a little testy, and when you want to bring the heat and you want to get in someone's face, I think Pito's the guy, and I loved what he brought. He's strapped up on both knees. I don't know how hard it is for him to be playing right now, but yeah, I thought it was a solid enough performance, so I gave him a 7. Will Setterfield, I gave him a fucking 10, mate. What a performance from Will Setterfield. Late inclusion, not even in the side, the ability to stay switched on mentally and perform, playing on arguably the greatest midfielder in the comp, Clayton Oliver, who was sensational. But I thought Will Setterfield really stood up. And it's amazing what happens when you see Will Setterfield in the environment in which he's naturally adept at playing. Inside, in the guts, in the thick of it. And I thought he lifted, and it was great. He's got some size about him. He's got some height about him. Definitely would love to see him get stronger and stronger, which I'm sure he will. But I think Will Setterfield was outstanding for us last night. So I gave him a 10. Doherty, I gave him a 9. I thought his first quarter and a half were really shaky. I mean, he put him in the midfield, and I thought he just panic kicked a lot. But as the game went on, you can't question the effort. I mean, he was inspirational. 10 tackles, 28 possessions. Just had a crack and left nothing out there. He just went for it, and I loved the way he played. I gave him a 9 for his game. But yeah, I think it was a good little move to put him in the midfield. I think we've seen it earlier in his career. He can do it, and it's something we're probably going to rely on next week as well, depending on what the story is with Chera and the rest of them. So gave him a 9. Then we go to the bench, Jesse Motlop, O'Brien, Durden, and Nunes. Motlop, I gave him a 4 for his game. I thought on the night it was probably a loss. At the same time, he's laid 4 tackles. He's laid 4 tackles. He's gotten amongst it. It's a great experience for him. It really is. And as I said, and I'll repeat it, it's hard to give anyone, below a pass when they play the way they did last night. But I just thought it was a loss on the night. We needed a little bit more from that position. O'Brien, it was interesting with him and Nunes. I gave them both a 4. I don't know if we really utilised our wings as much as what we could have. But yeah, Lockie, I just felt like it wasn't one of his better games. He's been better. He had some nice moments, but I sort of leave that game wanting more from him because he's been able to show more throughout the year. So I think he'll be better for it. Durds, I gave him a bare pass mark at the 11 touches, kicked a goal, got up the ground, looked like the Corey Durden when he's been playing at his best. Even just zipping through opponents in the midfield in tight situations. I think that's when he's at his best. Obviously, when he hits the scoreboard and puts the pressure on the shoulder, you can tell it's a bit of an issue. I don't know if it probably is affecting his ability to really hit, but that doesn't stop him. He still gets in there, and I just hope that he can pull through and get through the season, and then we can worry about the shoulder in the off season. Jack Nunes, like I said, gave him a 4 with Lockie O'Brien. Just wanted more, left the game wanting more, but tried his guts out as they all did, and it is really difficult to lay any criticism on a team that played with the heart and spirit and the hunger in which our boys did last night. So those are the player ratings. Difficult one to experience, but we've got to expect it. There'll be more of them. There'll be more harsh ones like that. There'll be more great wins in situations like that. It's the beauty of the sport. It's the beauty of sport. No matter what sport you're watching, it's all unpredictable. And we just got to hold on for dear life and get to the fucking MCG next week. It is on for young and old. Round 23 against the Pies. I can't wait. And the quicker not to say we have to just forget about Saturday night, last night, but look, it's just all about Collingwood next week. That's it. The mind goes straight there. It is what it is, and I can't wait. So let us know what you thought about the ratings. Change them if you want to. Give me some suggestions. Write some discussion points about why certain scores should be higher or lower. And we'll go from there as we unpack this and move on quickly. Have a good one. Go the Mighty Blues.